You're watching The Last Stand with Brian Custer.
That's right. It is The Last Stand. I'm Brian Custer. We bring you the biggest names in the sport. And listen, if you love this content, make sure you go here to our YouTube channel, subscribe, you hit the like button. And remember, we've also got these on audio. So you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, all of those where you get your podcast. You can download them and listen to them. Joining me today is a young man making his debut on The Last Stand. He is the unbeaten IBF junior welterweight champion of the world. He's none other, Richardson Hitchins. The champ making his debut. What's up? Welcome to The Last Stand.
Thank you for having me, man. I've been trying to be. I've been anticipating to be on your show for a little minute, so I'm glad to be here now.
This is great. All right, listen. So you last fought in June at the Garden. Man, you stopped Kambosos. In fact, I was at the fight, and that was so impressive. That body shots that you gave him. Any word yet on when we will see the champ back in the ring having another title defense in 2026?
I'll be back in the ring early 2026, first quarter. So I'm probably a couple months away from being back in the ring. So I'm just getting ready for that, excited for that. And yeah, so the fans gonna see me back real soon.
I love it. So now, after that fight, I saw that you announced that basically you were a free agent. And Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, he was promoted, I think, your last 5 fights, said he was upset about that. He insisted that he and Matchroom had lost money, he said, promoting you, blamed your management. He called them snakes. Has there been any resolution? Have you guys worked through any of this? And who's your promoter then going forward?
Right now, I'm still a free agent, and me and Eddie, we spoke about things, after that, and hash things out. So, like I said, I love Eddie Hearn. He helped change my career. One of the best promoters in boxing. I don't have nothing bad to say about him. And hopefully we can work in the future and see how things go.
Is there any list of people when you talk about being back in the first quarter of 2026? Who are the guys that you've been talking to about getting into the ring and having another title defense against?
It was a lot of fights we had in mind. I was thinking about going up to 147 to get a world title up there with the IBF champion up there. I think his name is Louis Crocker. We tried to make that happen. As of like a few weeks ago, I just got a mandatory. He just Lindolfo Delgado. He just won the #1 spot to be the mandatory for my belt. So that's a fight that I'm gonna have to get out the way and make happen along soon. And maybe just a lot of different names I was throwing out there for us to fight. So as of right now, I don't have a locked opponent, but like I said, we have guys that we're trying to make something happen with. They want the fight. We also want certain fights. So I don't want to give out no name because nothing is official in boxing, right? Till it's signed on the paper, till it's signed on the dotted line. So once everything's signed on the dotted line, I'll make an announcement and let the fans know who I'll be fighting.
I love it. I know, as you just talked about going up to 147, that was one of the things you did talk about. You even talked about fighting the winner of the Devin Haney-Brian Norman fight. And obviously, Devin put on a masterpiece there. I know you and Bill Haney had some real funny face-to-face trash talk. Have there been any serious discussions or negotiations, or was that really just talk between you two?
No, honestly, that was a fight I was really trying to make happen. It wasn't trash talk. Devin Haney is a name I've been calling out for years before I became champion. This was a guy that was telling me a few years ago, you ain't nobody, go get a world title. I get a world title. I was thinking he was gonna stay at 140. I really wasn't believing he was gonna go up to 147 to go grab a belt there. He went up there and beat Brian Norman. How I believe he would do that. And like I said, it's still a fight that I want. I'm growing out of the 140. I don't want to say I would go to 147 and be a a natural 147, but I think that I'm growing out of 140, and my body would be more it would be more easy to make 147. So I think there's a lot of big fights up there. Um, and it's time for me to either unify 140 or go up to 147 and see what's going on up there.
Listen, I think the 40-pound division really hot right now because, I mean, you got Shakur now coming up to 140. Teo, obviously, there. Belt holder. Yourself, belt holder. Gary Antoine Russell, belt holder there. Subriel Matias, belt holder there. Lamont Roach now at 140. Pitbull there. And they just had their scrap, ended in the draw. Give me your thoughts on what you saw out of that fight and what you think about it.
Watching it live, my automatic reaction, I had thought Lamont put the fight out watching it live, but I have rewatched the fight again the same night. Once everything died down and I had to settle in. I didn't really watch the full fight up to 12 rounds, but I watched it up to maybe like 9, 10 rounds. And it was a lot closer than I was watching it live. Pitbull, was doing a lot of good work, going to Lamont body. You could tell rewatching the fight after watching the Lamont interviews after the fight, him saying his right hand was hurting. You could watch the fight and see that he wasn't using his right hand effectively. And I think that it was different. It was little things that made the fight closer. I think that was a real draw. But I know Lamont is feeling a little down, but I just feel like his last two performances, he haven't done enough to put that exclamation point on the fans and the judges' eyes to be like, okay, he for sure won this fight. I think it's kind of like, yeah, you could look at it, you could argue to say he won the last two fights, but it's not like that in dominating fashion where it's an obvious robbery or it wasn't a draw. So I think he just got to go back to the drawing board, and I think that fight is a rematch is definitely called for. I think they should get back in the ring and make it happen.
It's interesting you say that, and especially about the right hand. I ended up seeing Lamont Roach in the airport that very next morning. Man, his hand was all wrapped up, and he had said he broke his hand in the 5th round. He said that's why he didn't throw it as much, but he said, I knew I had to throw it just because of the pressure of Pitbull, and I didn't want to fight him with just one hand. So he said, I just had to bite down on my gum shield and throw it when I could, but that's a great observation by yourself. But yeah, he said he broke his right hand in that fight.
Yeah. Also watching the fight, I kept seeing him throw a lot of left hooks. And, in boxing they say don't hook with a hooker.
Yeah.
If he kept hooking with Pitbull, he was throwing a lot of hooks with Pitbull. So I was wondering why he kept trying left hook. So maybe it was like you said, it was right hand. It's messed up.
It's interesting because he was obviously the belt holder at 130. Now he went up to 135 to fight Tank. Now at 140. What do you think about him at 140, campaigning at 140 now?
I think he's a great fighter. Lamont is very crafty, and his skills and ability, he would be able to fight at 140 and last with all the top guys. He showed that Saturday night with Pitbull. Pitbull is a strong 140 fighter. So I just feel like for him, he's trying to chase greatness, fight 3 different weight classes, win a belt in 3 different weight classes, and all you can do is just applaud him for that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Another guy that was on that card, how about Frank Martin? It was the return of Frank Martin. He is that devastating knockout against Barthélemy. What'd you think about Frank Martin, who made his debut, he says, now at 140?
He looked sharp. He looked sharp versus Barthélemy. Great, excellent footwork, spinning around Barthélemy. He made it look like easy work, and the left hand was night. So I got nothing bad to say about the performance. Even though Barthélemy's a little bit, I think he's washed up. He's really slow. He's really slow, older. I think he's about 40 years old now.
Yep.
And Frank Martin did what he was supposed to do with a guy like Barthélemy, and I don't think Barthélemy ever suffered a loss like that. So all you could do is like I said, applaud Frank Martin, and he caught me out after that fight, after the knockout. I don't think that's something he really would want to do. I mean, obviously he want to be a world champion, and I'm here to give him a title shot. I think that he's a great name at the 140 division, especially after coming out of a huge fight with Tank Davis. And I love to be the guy to go out there and and prove to him that he's not on my level. You know, he said he'll stop me. And I think that he's talking on his ass. I believe if we get in the ring, I'll be the one to stop him. So, but hopefully we can make it happen.
I love that you said that, and then you used the word easy work because we had Frank Martin on the last stand a couple weeks ago, and I had to bring you up because I was like, well, let's talk about the champ, Richardson Hitchins. And I want you to take a listen to what he had to say when I asked him about fighting you.
Hey, that's easy work. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's easy work. Richardson is easy work. Interesting.
Easy work. I'll stop him. I'll stop him. Bust his ass. Easy work.
Wow.
He just talked too much. I just seen something with dude on he was talking about the Devin Haney and Brian Norman fight. Like he was just talking about that. He just act like he just that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's cool. You supposed to have that confidence and all that. You know what I'm saying, bro? But you gotta have more than a jab, dog. Like he got a great jab, but that's all he got. You know what I'm saying? He act like like he out here putting pressure, like serious pressure on these fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like he cool. I feel like Keyshawn more of a, Keyshawn don't overdo it. Richardson, he overdoing it. He beat Cambosis, and you can't tell that man not a damn thing. He ain't knocking nothing out. You know what I'm saying? He ain't hurting nothing. He's something to play with.
Well, give me your thoughts. Respond to Frank Martin.
I think that, he's saying, I think he just said, all I have is just a jab. And, I beat Cambooses, and I feel like you can't tell me a damn thing after that. I think that a lot of these guys, they don't look at my resume when it comes to 140 and just how many, with just so little fights. He beat Bartholomew. I think, but how many fights Frank Martin have? I think he have 20 fights. I think he's a little older, but he beat Bartholomew. I was beating competition like Bartholomew when I was 22 years old with only 11 fights in guys like Argenis Mendez. Argenis Mendez, I would say, was probably more of a live dog than a Bartholomew. I think that Frank Martin need to look at his resume. His best guy was Javante Davis, a guy that put him to sleep, but he just now waking back up in 2025 to from that nap. So I think him saying that, all I have is a jab and this and that, and I talk too much. If I talk too much, I'm here. Come shut me up. I'm a champion for a reason at 140. I beat undefeated fighters after undefeated fighters back to back. I took the belt from the undefeated um 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 guy in Liam Powell that just came off a huge upset in Sabril Matias, that came off another fight with Montana Love, knocking Montana Love out. That I was the guy that the world was trying to write off after having a close fight with Gustavo Lemos, another undefeated fighter, and I came back and put an exclamation point, took the belt from Liam Powell. And George Cambosis is a guy that nobody have done what I've done to him at the highest level. He fought guys like Devin Haney. He fought guys like Teofimo Lopez. He fought guys like Lomachenko. And the way I beat him was brutally and dominating. So I feel like I'm allowed to talk my shit. I'm not just a guy that's chasing a world championship or chasing these big names like a prospect, and I'm just talking shit and I'm not proving it. Every time I get on a big stage, I show that I am who I say I am. So if Frank Martin want to come and prove to the world that he is who he say he is, I'll give him a shot.
I love it. Errol Spence's promoter even said after that fight that they want Richardson Hitchins to be the next fight for Frank Martin. Will we see that fight in 2026?
I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm all for it. If I can't make a huge fight happen after his next fight right now in the first quarter of 2026, if I can't make a big fight happen, I'm gonna try my best to go up to 147 and make big fights up there happen and see where we can make it shake. And if we could get guys like Frank Martin in the ring, if we could get the Gary Russells in the ring, if we could get Matias or any champion, any of these big names that would, put more respect to my name, I'm with it.
Yeah. What did you think of, what did you think about Frank, basically saying now that he's got this new trainer, he's unleashing the beast, that him stopping you would be easy work?
Like I said, I think that he's just talking out his ass. You know what I'm saying? Him saying he'll stop me is like, who have you beat? I really don't know who Frank Martin beat. I think his best one was Michelle Rivera.
Rivera, yes.
We haven't heard about that guy since him and Frank Martin fought. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when guys say when guys say they'll stop me, they'll do this, they could say that, but these guys say a lot of things. All I have is a jab. All I have is this. All I have is that. Get in the ring, and I will prove to whoever is getting in the ring that I am one of the best fighters in the sport of boxing. Period. And it's not just talk. I've been saying this for years. I'm gonna still say this, and listen. I'm gonna be the guy still here 5 years from now, 7 years, 8, 9 years, still talking my shit because I am who I am.
I like it. I like it a lot. Matter of fact, I think I saw something too, Champ, that you said, I think Teo aside, you believe you've got the best resume at 140, yes?
Yes, I believe I do have the best resume. When you look at my resume, I beat a lot of undefeated guys. Stop guys fighters that are brought up at the 140 division as big names, they couldn't stop. I stopped George Kambosos. I stopped Yomar Alamo, a guy that was contending to fight for a world title, and he's been in the ring with guys like Liam Parrow. Gave Liam Parrow split decision loss. He's been in the ring with guys like Jermaine Ortiz. He's been in the ring with guys like what's the young kid from Houston, the dark skinned young strong kid that fights on OTX.
Oh yes, yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah, the young upcoming.
Breon, something. Like these guys are getting in the ring with guys like Yomar Alamo, and he's giving these guys fits. I came into the ring with Yomar Alamo, and dominated and stopped him at 8. Beat guys like Hawkins. I beat guys like Gustavo Lemos, George Kambosos, Argenis Mendez, John Bowser. These are guys I'm brutally beating the F out of. Liam Parrow, dominate. I went to Puerto Rico and dominated him. So it's like I said, I have one of the best resumes in the 140 division. When I've been in tough fights for a guy that wasn't, I've been in tough fights for a guy that it's not like I was getting paid crazy money or being treated like these guys. I remember seeing Devin Haney years ago in a spot in New York City. It was like a nightclub. It was like a lounge, and I just fought Argenis Mendez, and he came up to me and he was like, "Yo, I'm not gonna lie, you fought Argenis Mendez for like I would have never fought him for the type of money they gave you." He said they would have to give me a lot of money to fight that guy. So him saying that to me that's basically saying that, yo, you're taking tough fights at a stage where it's like you're not even supposed to be taking these type of fights. You only have 11 fights and you've been a former world champions for $50,000. I'd have fought that guy for way more money than $50K. So like I said, I am who I say I am, and it is what it is.
I like it. Speaking of that, I want you to listen to another guy that we had on the last stand. We had Teofimo Lopez on the show in November. And, obviously, we had to ask him about you because I know we were at the Danny Garcia fight. We saw you guys talking. And so we were like, yo, Teofimo, what about Richardson Hitchins? Will we see that fight? Take a listen to what Teo had to say about fighting Richardson Hitchins.
Would love to face Hitchins. Would love to face him in New York and have that whole, title be called King of New York, and just really thump it in there for everybody to see that I am the best in not just New York, but in the world. So, eventually, I think that they just told me that we have a...
Your thoughts on that?
I don't think that my manager or management told him that we need to build him up a little bit more. I think that was a fight that my management, you kind of brought to the table as soon as I won the world championship. And he was like, yo, we can work towards this. I actually thought that I was going to be in the ring with Teofimo after the George Kambosos fight. That's what I was like, pushing for. That's what was on my mind. And it is what it is. When it comes to when he says build me up more, I feel like maybe it will be a bigger fight down the line when I am a bigger name. You know what I'm saying? Because right now I'm just still scratching the surface as far as like, everybody's calling my name now. Everybody want to fight me. Everybody's noticing me. Even like, the general public. I'm everywhere. I go to the mall, wherever I'm at, out in vacation. People are noticing who I am. So I feel like, yeah, maybe it next year in 2026. It'll be a big fight, and and it is what it is. I'm glad that he said he would love to do it because that's somebody I would love to get in a ring with, and like I said, show the world that I am who I say I am.
I like it. You know, Tio is obviously fighting Shakur January 31st at the Garden. Who wins that fight, you think, champ?
I've been knowing both guys for a long time. Both guys are top level fighters. As far as Teofimo, he's a guy that always been, a winner and an exceptional fighter since the amateurs. Shakur always been, the guy, the golden boy since the amateurs. And I I could never go against Shakur, I could never go against him, and because I've seen this guy for years and years and years and years, sparring sessions after sparring sessions, fights after fights, and I haven't seen I haven't seen too many guys that could deal with that type of riddle that he brings to the ring. So obviously Teofimo believes he has Shakur number, and Shakur believes he has Teofimo number, and me, if I had to put my bet in, I would bet on Shakur Stevenson.
Mm. And tell me why. What do you think is the difference?
I think that we've seen a lot of cracks in Teofimo armor. You know what I'm saying? He showed that he can get hit. He showed he can get hit a lot. He's been in fights where with George Kambosos and it's like guys like Steve Clyde and just certain fights where he showed vulnerability. I've never seen any real vulnerability when it comes to Shakur. The most vulnerable moment I've seen in Shakur is just him being in an absolute boring fight. But as far as him, showing cracks in his armor or showing that he's hittable or he's a guy that you can just go out there and you it's a way to be him. Nobody have shown that yet. So I think that's the big difference.
Mm. Interesting. One of the fights that is coming about, Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. What are your thoughts on that?
That's crazy. He went from fighting a great little man to fighting a great big man. Shout out to Jake Paul for that. I really want to know what what's his game plan for that fight. And I don't know. That's dope. I mean, you can't really call him like he's a cherry pickle. He's picking strategically because at first it was like I'm looking at him like, all right, he's fighting Tank. It makes sense. Tank is super small with a big name. Now he's flipped around like, okay, now I'm gonna fight the guy Anthony Joshua. So I'm excited to watch the fight, and I just want to see if he's gonna be able to survive. Yeah, right, Andrew.
I think a lot of people are saying the same thing there, champ, as well. It's fun. Listen, you know Tank very well. Obviously, he was supposed to have the fight, and because of his the legal situation, they went a different route. What do you think Tank should do next? Who do you think Tank should even fight next?
Tank is a guy, you know what I'm saying? I think that he needs to make that situation right with Lamont. I think that's the first thing he needs to do. He needs to go fight Lamont Roach. He says he wants to fight Pitbull, but I don't think that's the fight that the general public want to see. I think, and I was just telling somebody just the other day, I think when you watch Lamont and Pitbull, it was a close fight. When Tank fought Pitbull, it was it wasn't too obvious, but I think he had a way easier time with Pitbull than a lot of guys have with Pitbull. So I don't think he do a Pitbull rematch. I think that he need to go back and fight Lamont Roach and then start chasing the big names. And obviously, the world want to see him and Shakur Stevenson. So I think those are the fights that he should come back with and try to, make happen.
It's interesting because you have sparred, worked out with both of these guys. Know these if Tank and Shakur get in the ring together, what do you think happens in a fight like that?
I don't know. Like I said, Tank is a guy, and Shakur, I barely seen any vulnerability in his game. And I've known Shakur since I was 13. But I mean, Shakur started, catapulting himself to a different level. I think by the age we were like 15 years old, you kind of tell. Like I would say, he was probably ready. He was probably a world championship type of fighter. Probably about 15, 16 years old. And I haven't seen any real vulnerability. And I feel like Tank is a special type of fighter, a once in a lifetime type of talent. So for them two to get in the ring, I really can't tell you who will win. And it's a lot of things that comes with, Tank's aura. just the type of fan base he brings to the arena, the whole atmosphere of a Tank fight night. So I think that would be a lot for Shakur to deal with also coming into that ring. But these are questions that I had maybe a year or two ago, and now that Shakur Stevenson is going to a different level, he's fighting on bigger stages. I think that he'll probably be more comfortable with that atmosphere, and I think that if Tank keep waiting, Shakur is just going to keep getting better and more comfortable, and I think it will make it for a tougher fight for Tank, but we'll see.
Bud Crawford just came out recently, talked about these sanctioning fees. You're a champion. You have to take care of those. I know Errol Spence was really vocal about it before he and Terrence Crawford fought, talking about he thinks the system needs to be changed and things of that nature. What's your thought on these belts and the sanctioning fees?
I'm honestly the sanctioning fees, I think like they're taking like a lot of percentages from the fighters. I've been thought that first time I got hit with sanctioning fees after I fought Jose Zepeda. And I had fought him for like 3 regional belts, the WBO, the WBC, the IBF. And I'm like, why my check lower than I had thought it was gonna be? And when management came to me like, oh, you had to pay for the belts, the sanctioning fees, and after that, I wasn't really a big fan of having too many belts or this or that. Even though the belts are something you need if you don't have a huge name in boxing, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like the sanctioning fees, I think the money should be lowered, even though I don't know where the money from the sanctioning fees, what they're doing with that. They might be doing something positive with that. I haven't really got into that. So like I said, I don't want to I'm not gonna go out there and talk none of the belts. Only issue I ever had about any belt, any world championship or any type of belt was the IBF. And I am an IBF champion, but I think that the 10-pound rehydration rule is just a messed up rule because I was always under the impression that if once you make weight, go out there and rehydrate so you can give the fans the best show the next night. So that's my only issue with any belt for real.
Let me ask you this. From Brooklyn, is Richardson Hitchins the next great New York City fighter?
I always said that about myself. I feel like I am I am the guy to like hold New York City down for years to come. I've been in the gym with a lot of great fighters, from Louis Collazo to Saddam Ali, Danny Jacobs, Curtis Stevens. These were the guys that that represented New York at the highest stage, at the highest level, and I feel like I'm that guy right now to hold the city down. And I don't think just New York. I just feel like I'm one of the best fighters in the world, period. And it's just dope to come from a hometown like New York, and it puts that much pressure being a New York fighter. So I am the next great fighter from New York, I believe.
I was reading something about you, and it broke my heart. But then I said, I can see why this guy is so hungry, because it was talking about when you were, I'm talking about a pup, a young man, that you at one point helped your mother sell water out of a park in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, to help pay the bills. Is that true?
Yeah. When I was about like, I want to say going into middle school. So whatever age is that, like 10 years old, I think that's the first step when you go into middle school. My mom, I would take the big pots in my mom, for my mom, what she cooks in, and I will I will put water in it and freeze it overnight, and then the next day I will buy a case of water, and I will put the water in the pot that has the ice cold water, and I'll walk around in the like the carts, like the laundry carts.
Yes.
Carts, I would just push the laundry carts with the pot and put the waters in it and just push it around the park and just selling it to the guys that's playing basketball, just selling to people that's driving near their car and just hustling. I help my mom, pay like whatever bills she needed help with, or get myself nice things like, you like a used sidekick or like a used PlayStation, things like that, just making my own money and just hustling because it was an older guy around my area at that time. I would ask him for like money and I would ask him for like $1, $2. And one night he gave me like $5 and he was like, you want to know how to make money so you don't have to ask me for money every time you see me? It was like, go to the supermarket, buy you some candy, buy you some water and flip it. And I'm like, what? And the same day, I bought some water and I started making money. And that night I came home with like Chinese food and stuff from my mother. I was like, yo, where you get all this money from? I had like a lot of ones. And I was a kid, so some of the guys would like tip me an extra $1 for the water. They're paying $2 or $3. So from there, I told my mom I'm gonna sell water the whole summer. And it was to the point I was helping out with her bills.
Oh, it's fantastic, man. And you think about that now, and now look at you, Richardson, a world champion, considering where you've come from to where you are now. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. Literally is something that like I wake up every day and I'm literally in like I'm like, wow, like what the hell? Like I am who I say I am, and I work for this. Like even like when you noticed me the other day, when you see me in the bar, you say, yo, man, you got to get on my show. Like those are things like that. I'm happy to I'm honored for you to even come to me and tell me that because I was a kid running around like Barclays Center in 2014 and 15 and seeing guys like you, like, and I'm like, yo, I want to, I can't wait till you're talking about my fights and I'm at that stage. So now to be a world champion, I work myself up to that level. It's just something that I feel like it wasn't God's plans. I always been in love with boxing as a whole. And I think that, it's just something that I just gotta like give myself a pat on my back. And I think that my future is bright. And, it's just all I could do is just thank God, just being from where I'm from, I went into the Olympics while my mom being evicted, and my mom going to a shelter home, and that was like the first battery on my back. 18 years old, I didn't have nowhere to stay. I'm staying at friends' houses, and I'm over here. I'm signing the Mayweather promotions. I'm living in the projects. I'm paying a few $100s to pay for a room in the projects to eventually striving, and now I'm living in a penthouse. I'm a world champion. I'm there. I'm wearing expensive clothes. I'm wearing expensive jewelry. I'm doing nice things for myself, and I just want to keep going.
Hey, that Brooklyn Cops and Kids program did you well, huh?
Yeah, if I'd never walked into that gym, I don't know where I would be. And I walked into that gym to learn how to fight in the streets. That's it. I just want to learn how to beat people up in the streets. That's it. And once I walked into the gym, I'm like, oh, people wrapping their hands. It looked cool. I'm like, oh, this is like some ninja stuff. Like I wrap my hands, and then I started watching Floyd on TV, and I'm like, oh, he's popping his shit. And I'm like, the first fighter that walked into my gym that showed me what it looked like to be a skillful fighter was Bruce Carrington. And I was like, I don't know what boxing is, but whatever that guy is doing, I want to box like that. I'm like, he looks like Mayweather, like. So me and him became like I became super friends, like super close with him. I was training with him, running with him on the track, and from there I met Shakur. I'm like, I want to box like that. He's super skilled. Started, being around him, taking notes from him, and to going to Olympics and signing with Mayweather, so signing with Eddie Hearn, becoming the world champion, and so the journey goes on and on.
It goes on and on. I'll say this as we wrap it up for you. First of all, yes, I'm a fan. From the first time I saw you fight, I was like, that kid is special. So I'm a fan, and absolutely, it is an honor to have you on the show. It's been far too long. And I mean, your future is the trajectory of your future is just going that way, man. I can't wait to see you in these big time fights, whether it be Frank Martin, whether it be Devin Haney. But I can't wait to see you fight next, man. It's just been an honor. I appreciate you spending some time with me.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Brian. And I can't wait to be back.
Absolutely. Listen, folks, that's what we do here on The Last Stand. We bring you the biggest names in the sport, like the champ right there, Richardson Hitchins. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next week. That's right. I am Brian Custer. This is The Last Stand. And we want to remind you, if you love this content, and we certainly thank you for watching, downloading, supporting the show, make sure you go to YouTube, subscribe to The Last Stand, hit that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification as well so you don't miss any episodes that we have coming up. Share the show as well. And you can also hear the podcast as well. You can download it, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Podcast Addict, Deezer, or whatever platform you listen to your podcast, you can find The Last Stand. We certainly appreciate the support. Don't forget, download The Last Stand.